What can you tell us about the Muppet rebranding at the Disney Studios? Is there any news that you guys are privy to regarding what's happening there?
No, I think everything's out there that we know, right?
I
Yeah,
know
I mean,
nothing.
I don't know if-
My lips are sealed.
I don't know how much of a rebranding, but I think it's.
It's a retheming of the roller coaster.
Are you talking about the
right?
roller coaster?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, yeah, I mean, they just did the announcement, and we were there in Orlando to do that. Some of us went down there. And I think it's gonna be really fun. The ideas, we spent a little time with the Imagineering people there, and they were very collaborative, and it was fun, it was great. I went on the roller coaster, I hadn't been on it in years.
He has all the fun.
Yeah, I got to have fun on this one. But I think it's gonna be fun. I think the ideas that they came up with and how it's gonna be incorporated, I think will be pretty cool.
I'm afraid of roller coasters.
I wouldn't go. Not me.
Yeah.
I see that Ferris wheel outside our hotel.
Yes.
Oh, you're going on.
Scary.
Yeah.
All right, how about more questions? We're just,
That's it, right? We're done?
Yes.
Try the veal.
Mark with Blurredography. My question is for all three of you. Since you help create iconic characters with their voices, their animations, their movement, how hard is it to leave the character behind once you are off to other and greater things with the puppets that you have created or voiced or manipulated?
well, I have two answers for that. The only reason I would leave a character is, one, it appears in the park and we can't go there every day. Or two, I'm dead and I don't care.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't do any of those characters, but if they don't do it
Didn't
the
you
way I
create-
think they should, after I created those puppets, then I would be very upset. But everybody's been incredible about the characterizations of these characters that have been so much part of my life for so long, and they're genius.
I just realized we didn't introduce ourselves. Bonnie is a master designer and puppet maker,
Yeah,
and worked with the Muppets from 72, is it? Or
70 to 77.
70 to 77.
And then more.
And then more later. And then left with her husband and started a mascot designing company,
No.
as well as advertising.
Yes.
And, go ahead, you do it.
Can I just say, and the
Yes.
characters, some of the ones that she created and designed, and I have to say, I know that when you first said I didn't do those characters, but you build character into your designs. That I think inspires people to create.
I hope that's
And
true.
It's
Of course it
absolutely
is.
true.
It's absolutely true. When you see it, there's something, at least from my perspective, when I see a puppet as beautifully built as the ones that you make, there's something that I get from that. So, of course. But for me, the only thing I think I've left, a character that I had to leave just because of situation of travel and it just wasn't convenient, was I did Elmo's dad for a little while. I started off doing Elmo's dad, and I had to give that up. And I love the character, but fortunately there was another great puppeteer named Tyler Bunch, and he took on the character, and that kind of just worked out. But I don't know, it's leaving them behind. I think same with Dave, when I die, I'll leave it behind.
You know, I left all the characters to these guys who really, I left them in good hands, as it were.
Well, to elaborate on that a little bit, we just work with an incredible bunch of people, and we love each other, and
Wow.
in spite of Bill's behavior. But
So,
the collaboration, it's always been about collaboration. You know, like people said, well, how do you create characters? I said, well, it was Jim, the writers, and the workshop and the performers. It just comes from all directions. You know,
and it was fantastic fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joy Stevens with the Moana Nui podcast. The question I have for all three of you is, growing up myself as a Gen Xer, born in '74, I grew up with the Muppets being a part of my life, family almost. And how does it feel to be a part of something that is so internationally appreciated, a part of so many children's lives, grown-ups' lives, etc.? Like, sometimes we can feel kind of small. I wonder how y'all feel about helping create that universe.
It's just good fortune and an honor.
Really
Just
good.
so lucky.
Grateful.
Yeah,
Yeah, gratitude.
but it was truly the collaboration of everybody together that made it happen. And the fact, I think, that we had fun doing it, and I think that shows in the projects that Jim did, because he was definitely the head honcho for all of that play that we did.
But he allowed it. He allowed everybody to do what they could do best. And he only gently corrected if he wanted it to go a little different direction. But we were in a creative job where we got to be creative. It was really astonishing. And you know, our producer for Fraggle Rock, Larry Merkin, once said that everybody's working in service of the best idea. And we know it, you know. If I'm doing something and Bill has an idea, we all know if it's better. It's usually not.
Usually
but
not.
but we all know if it's better, and we go with it. We just jump on it. So that's the fun of it, you know.
I think as somebody who came later, these are originators of that world that you talk about. And I came later, I pinch myself to think that I get to do this and be with these people and learn early on kind of the natural, not experience, but the
Process.
Yeah, the process and the air about how they all work together that Jim inspired in all of them, and so I learned through them how to play and you know, just I don't know. It's I can't exactly put it into words other than it's a feeling and inspiration that I got from these people, and so I'm just grateful that I'm allowed to wiggle little dollies and be stupid.
We call Jim the gentle anarchist, because
Yeah.
he really did encourage all of that. And I traveled with, the Jim Henson Legacy has been a sponsor of some of these tours that we've done to different museums. Everyone who comes to me to talk about what it meant to them as kids, I found that so many of them watched with their families. And this is something different than a lot of TV programs at the time, but this was something that everybody in the family could enjoy, and they really, it stayed with them. I think that was something that really resounded with them throughout time and brought them to these museum shows that we did with our installations.
Yeah, it's just, it's a fantasy. I remember when I was just out of high school, I went to see Hard Day's Night, you know, the Beatles movie. And I got so just revved up by that thing that I came out of the movie and I thought, God, I would love to be one of those guys. I would love to be part of a phenomena. In a smaller way, a more subtle way, we've been around for so long. It goes back to 1955. And, you know, we all joined later than that, but it was really, really amazing. Just a wonderful thing to have all of that connection with the public, but also be anonymous, and, you know, we could just go out to lunch and nobody ever recognizes it. It's great.
Monica with the Geeky Diva. What is your favorite character and or movie that's for the Muppets?
Boy,
For the Muppets that you've worked
It's
with?
really hard, because they're all parts of us.
Yeah.
You know, when we start a character, it's a function of those entities I mentioned. The workshop creates it, and then creates the puppet, and that suggests to us what it would sound like, how it would move, and so those are all parts of us. In my case, I think Gonzo is probably the easiest one to do, because he can say anything. You know, he just can say anything. So there's no pressure of trying to create a construction on the fly, like a character like Bunson Honeydew. He's so silly when he's on set, but you know, I have to edit myself when I'm doing publicity with him, and it's you know, but together we just play like crazy. So he's part of me too. He's the part that misses the big picture. You know, he's hyper focused on detail, and it's like a train runs over him. So I don't know. That's my answer. Go ahead.
Who's yours?
Oh, well, I have a similar, and it's kind of boring, but I guess I have a favorite. There are favorites when I'm in the moment and performing them, because like Dave was saying, some of them I draw from people I know, like Pepe is my wife's aunt, and Johnny Fiama is my dad and my grandfather. So they're special to me for different reasons, and I draw from those personalities. So it's not so much which is my favorite, but I just enjoy them when I get to do them. So it's a boring answer, but that's the
No,
truth.
it's good. Which was your favorite to design?
I love them all because I love process. And believe me, it takes time. Actually, my favorites though are Statler and Waldorf because I've seen them naked.
And they love it.
Yeah, they do.
Trey with Daddy Mojo. A prawn is funny. A shrimp is not. Were there any other characters or animals that you thought really had legs but didn't make it off the workshop table?
The prawn is funny? You think he's funny?
A prawn is funny. A shrimp is not.
The shrimp doesn't make it though.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
Because he could be a king prawn. He could be his
Yes,
ego.
exactly.
You know, and
I don't think there's anything we made that didn't work out.
Yeah, I can't think of one that, I don't know, Davey. do you?
well, and then the way that happened was a puppet was made, and Bill was playing around with it. We gathered in London. We were all playing around with new puppets that showed up, and Bill just got that guy. And then who decided he was a prawn?
Well, he wasn't finished. The actual, excuse me, the puppet was just kind of these, like a couple wires coming up and a little flappy mouth, little small thing with 2 eyes on it. And he got a little sweater. It wasn't even finished. And I just grabbed it and we were playing around. And I would, my wife's aunt came to visit us in England. She is Spanish, from Madrid. And she's such a funny character. She's this little mischievous lady, and she didn't speak a lot of English, and she would always say things like to me like, "You're wearing a black shirt, okay?" And I'd say, "Okay." And she'd go, "Come to the carpet, okay?" Okay. So I just thought there's these statements that she would say all the time, and I thought that would be kind of funny. So then I was sitting with Kirk Thatcher, designer and director with the Muppets and writer for years, and I was explaining to Kirk, it's so silly, I was explaining to Kirk about her personality, and I said, you know, she's mischievous, and she's got a great laugh, she's a little selfish, and Kirk said, did you say shellfish? And I said, yeah, and he said, oh, wow, what if it's like a crab, or a lobster, or a shrimp? And I said, oh, a shrimp, but I think he's got a problem with the complex, so he's a king prawn, you know. And then,
You're right about the prawn part.
yeah, I can't remember who then designed him, but I remember Eric Eccleston built him.
Oh, yeah?
Just no pattern or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a beautiful design, beautiful character.
Yeah.
Yes, he
So I'm
is.
lucky to have him, yeah.
Yes, sir.
In today's media, how important are the puppetry arts, and how can the puppetry arts stand up to CGI and computer animation, some of these newer processes that's dominating entertainment today?
Wow, that's a fancy question.
Mm-hmm.
We're just itinerant folk artists. We don't think about
Yeah.
our place in the world. We just do our thing.
Yeah. I like that it's not CG, just there are things that you feel like you can really, excuse me, something in my throat, that if you want to believe it, you can believe that they're in our world and you can live with them and they're next to you and they can touch you and you can go on a talk show and
Touch
people
me
can
too.
really interact and
It's important.
yeah, and so I think that's a real connection. And obviously CG and that stuff is you're separated, even though as beautiful and real as these things are that they create. To me, it's about being in the same space with something.
I have
Yeah.
to relate being on the set in England when we were doing the Muppet Show. If you think it was fun to watch it, you have no idea how much fun it was to be there. To see the play with these performers using these characters off camera. I mean, not giving up the roles. And then you have to understand, a lot of puppets are done to a lip sync or something like that. These are characters who came out of these personalities, the crazy people.
And her. And you too.
Well,
Absolutely.
and
Everybody in
the
the
group.
workshop.
And so we played all the time, and I think play is such an important part of learning, of experiencing, of process. All of that is something that anybody can do, and I think the fact that we had such a good time doing it is seen in the product.
Yeah. I would add just that for us to work as puppeteers has the benefits that Bill mentioned in the play, that we can do spontaneously. We can do it live on a talk show. But there are also strengths that we can't do that are involved with CG. So, you know, that's a magical thing. The camera can go anywhere. Anything can happen. Cell animation has stretch and squash. I don't think CG has that yet. So all these methods have their pros and cons. We just happen to live in this one, and we love doing it because we have so much fun together. We get an immediate result as soon as we screw up. Everybody knows, you know. So yeah, sorry.
Considering how much fun y'all had together, do you have any moments in mind that like this was the most fun day, or I can't believe this happened, or like funny stories that stick with you?
Not so funny. I have a sad story.
Oh.
When I was working on Statler, I had finished everything. I had carved him. I had put the nose on. I had the ears together.
You should say those
It's
puppets are carved out of a
foam.
solid block of foam with,
Yeah.
you know,
Scissors.
carving knife and scissors. So it takes a long time to make one.
So I had it just about ready to go, but there was one spot that was just a little rough. And so I went up to the belt sander, which was how I smoothed out the surface.
The scissor marks go. You know.
And I lost my concentration for 1 second, and I sent that head right through the belt sander to the other side of the room with a hole for the whole thing.
No.
And
Yeah.
I went downstairs. I did what my mentor, Don Celine, said I should do. I went up to the roof. I found some terracotta pots, and I threw them against the wall until I felt better.
And
And
you
then I
gave-
started all over
Yeah.
again.
This is just, it's so true.
Some of
They're
those stories.
handmade works of art, you know. In fact, the first time I saw them in a museum, I think it was Exposition Park in LA, to see our characters in glass cases, all specially lit and posed and everything, I realized, holy cow, these things are fine art. These are, because, you know, the pockets used to be lined, the jackets used to be lined, the pockets would really work, and on. You could go on and on about the degree of love that was put into these things, and they just stayed that way for years and years. You know, just like beautiful works of art. And all of a sudden, I didn't see them as tools anymore. I saw them as art.
And I think that's why everybody who worked in the shop as well really loved working there, because not only could we do the puppets, but we built the clothes. We had people who are specialists. Statler and Waldorf had a tailor who was one of our people. And they all had the opportunity to do props as well. I mean, we really had the full scope of a performance
Yeah.
available in the workshop to give to the performers who were going to be the puppeteers.
Piggy, during the Muppet Show, sort of acquired a costumier, and it was Calista Hendrickson. And
Yep.
it was publicized as House of Calista. House of Calista. This was the Piggy's designer.